Welcome to Fireside Giants with your boy Alex. Anthony and I here today, but guys, I have to say, this Giants team going up into this upcoming Sunday against the Washington Commanders, I'm not very optimistic. We probably have Tyrod Taylor again. Azeez Ojulari's on IR. We just brought in a couple of tackles. Josh Miles, Atlanta practice squad, and then of course Tyree Phillips, a guy that we are very familiar with, played 350 or so snaps with the Giants last year, and ultimately actually had some decent success in pass protection. I wouldn't be surprised if he was starting at right tackle this week, as Evan Neal is not trending in the right direction. So, who knows? Maybe we actually end up seeing a pretty good performance from Tyree Phillips that kind of covers up that right tackle spot and shows a little bit more efficiency from Tyree Phillips over Evan Neal. We'll see. But today I wanted to talk about one special young receiver, 22 years old, and this kid has a lot of talent. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's Wandale Robinson. Wandale Robinson last year was on pace to have a pretty damn impressive season, probably one of the better seasons of any Giants receiver, given the status and state of our offense. And, Wandale Robinson actually ended up having a 100-yard performance against Detroit, and then, of course, went down with the ACL tear. Had 100 yards on the dot, 9 receptions on 13 targets. Guy has a really good hands, really good catch rate, doesn't drop many passes, and, man, he makes a lot of a difference on this team. And I have to say, he's become a nice little security blanket for whoever's playing quarterback on a weekly basis, whether it's Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones. And if you guys haven't heard yet, Cole Beasley has been released from the practice squad, and apparently he wanted to be released, didn't see an opportunity with the Giants, obviously going in a different direction there. The Giants want to go younger, and Robinson certainly fits the bill in that regard. So, looking at the future here, Wandale Robinson, I personally believe that he has the capacity to be a star on this team. Now, the offense being the way that it is, and that we can't really throw downfield, we're having some struggles. We saw Tyrod Taylor do it last week, actually, at a decent clip, had a couple of really nice throws. One of them called back for that ghost, penalty on Evan Neal, that beautiful throw to Jalen Hyatt. And you know what I really like to see? Jalen Hyatt getting more involved in this scheme. He made a couple of really nice plays, not only that long throw and catch, but also that crucial third, fourth down, whatever it was at the end of the game. I think it was a fourth down, where he jumped up across the middle, snagged the ball, took a hit, and held on. That's what Jalen Hyatt can do. I really don't want to see the Giants pigeonhole him into just utilizing him as this 9-route guy, this deep ball receiver. And at the end of the day, I do believe his upside is certainly there, and certainly we should be expanding his route tree. I know that Brian Dable and Kafka are trying to work him along as kind of like a cautious approach, like not push it. But I do feel as though he is ready to take a bigger step. I think he's ready to start expanding on his route tree, ready to become a bigger piece of this offense, along with guys like Wandale Robinson. I mean, the truth is pretty simple. Like, you're seeing kind of Isaiah Hodgins get phased out. Darius Slayton's still a prominent piece. And at the end of the day, I do believe that the youth on this team is the future. You know what I mean? Wandale is the future. Darius Slayton, I actually do believe, has a future with this team unless he gets traded at the deadline, which certainly is a conversation to be had. And then, of course, Jalen Hyatt is the future of this squad. So we have a lot of young players who do have a future with this team, and I feel as though giving them the opportunity to fight for those opportunities now and actually put together good performances and become trusted, build that experience up. Like, that's going to be what helps this Giants team move forward. Tyrod Taylor clearly isn't afraid to get out of the pocket and make some throws downfield, take some risks. I wouldn't be surprised if Hyatt was the benefactor of that this upcoming Sunday against Washington, who have a pretty good pass rush. Chase Young is having a ridiculously good season. By the way, Chase Young's going to be a free agent after this year. I wonder if that's a guy the Giants consider looking at, considering, Leonard Williams will be off the books. That's $32 million there. You have Adoree Jackson at $19 million. I wonder if the Giants actually look at a guy like Chase Young and say, maybe we'll sign him to pair with Kayvon Thibodeau. That's a pretty formidable pass rush, given Kayvon can continue increasing his production. I do believe that losing Leonard Williams will be kind of a big thing. We'll have to find a supplement in the interior. Maybe a guy like Jordan Riley fills in, but he's no pass rusher in comparable to Leonard Williams, who obviously has that experience on his side. And Dexter Lawrence is just a force of nature. I mean, he could do it all himself if he wanted to. But back to Wandale. I do believe that Wandale, so far, we've just seen him coming off an ACL tear. Doesn't look like he's missed a beat to me. I don't know what you guys think, but Wandale looks really solid. This past game, he had 8 targets, 8 receptions for 62 yards with Tyrod under center, obviously. Annoyingly, he only had 18 yards the week before, or in week 5 against Miami. He had 5 receptions, though, for 18 yards. I feel like that's not enough. And then 5 receptions for 40 yards the week before. I do feel as though we should use him a little bit more actively. He's taken some big hits, too, by the way. We've seen I saw Darren Waller blow a block and he got laid out. He's taken some big hits across the middle. Wandale's just kind of getting the crap beaten out of him over the last couple weeks. It kind of gets me a little nervous for his health. I'd love the Giants to get him into space, let him take some wide receiver screens, like let him do some stuff with blockers out in front, scheme it open. Like you see what the Miami Dolphins did to us. Swung the ball out to Tyreek Hill, got their guys in space, got the blockers out in front. Instead, we're kind of just like giving Wandale Robinson a reason to get hit. One blocker out in front is not going to get it done. You see him over the middle. He's getting hit by guys coming across defenders. Like he's just taking these unnecessary hits. And I kind of feel like we're putting him in the spot to get destroyed. Maybe we use him differently. Maybe we get him into open space. And I think that he has so much potential. I'd hate to limit him to a degree. And I think the Giants can do a better job getting creative and getting him into space, putting him in motion, getting the defense to look at other players. Like you need to start compounding on this and building on that scheme instead of holding it back. And that goes to show for like a multiple players. Like Jalen Hyatt's the perfect example there. Slayton probably had one of his best games of the season last week against Buffalo. So, right now I do feel as though the Giants need to take a step forward in terms of getting a little bit more creative. Teams know how to just beat the Giants now, especially Daniel Jones. Go watch Daniel Jones play and what defenses are doing. They're biting on the routes. They don't trust him to look downfield. They don't trust him to do anything on the run. They're really just like biting down and just playing man coverage. Like that's all it takes to beat Daniel Jones, unfortunately, right now, because the offensive line isn't good enough to give him time in the pocket. I think Daniel Jones, with time in the pocket and good weapons, could be a very good quarterback. But unfortunately, the line is just so bad. We're never going to see the best of him. And we're probably going to end up seeing him leave before we end up ever seeing the best of Daniel Jones. That's the state of kind of where we're at right now. I mean, we have Justin Pugh preparing to play left tackle. Guys, Justin Pugh has been here for like 2 weeks. He hasn't played left tackle at all in his career. He's played like 100 and like maybe close to 200 snaps in like 7 seasons. This is not sustainable. Tyree Phillips has not been with this team for the first 6 weeks of the season, and we're about to watch him play right tackle. This line is a disaster. The fact that Tyrod Taylor even managed to make any throws downfield last week is impressive in its own right. And I don't think that Daniel Jones is going to be back this week or maybe even next week. He's been cleared to throw on like a limited, like kind of individual drill basis, but he's not been cleared yet. He says the pain is kind of gone, like it's getting there. So hopefully we'll see him back next week. But, against a really formidable Jets pass rush, and if you watch the Jets against the Eagles last week, they're legit. Like their defense, they were missing Reed and they were missing Sauce Gardner. So like they're freaking good. Like they're going to beat the crap out of the Giants offensive line. And whoever's playing quarterback's going to get hit. And Daniel Jones, like maybe they keep him out an extra week just to keep him safe. We'll see. But I kind of like the development of Tyrod utilizing his playmakers, right? Hyatt was getting involved, Slayton getting involved. Even Darren Waller had some big opportunities. They gave him some shots in the red zone. We haven't seen that. I mean, look, coming away from first and goal, like on the 1 yard line with no points on 2 separate occasions, unacceptable. That cannot happen again. The Giants need to get better in that regard. But I do feel as though Wandale can play a bigger factor here. Like, why isn't he a factor in the red zone? I feel as though, he's small, he's shifty. Like, remember like Victor Cruz? So small, so shifty, such a good route runner. He got open so much in the red zone. And the Giants just don't do that anymore. Like, they just don't utilize their guys to their strength sometimes. Yes, I get like throwing it up high to Darren Waller, letting him make a contested catch is fine, but like he hasn't really been that great at contesting catches this year. He's dropped a couple of them. I'd like to see the Giants get their their small guys involved in the red zone. Like, you can get these guys touchdowns. I mean, for God's sake, Miami, David Achane, Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Watt. These guys are so active in the red zone, and they're so the Miami offensive line isn't that great. In fact, most consider it one of their weaknesses, and somehow they're just getting away with just an excellent performance anyway because of the playmakers they have and the reason they're attacking their strengths. They're using their strengths to get better, and I feel as though the Giants haven't done that at times this year. Like, Mike Kafka has disappointed me. Brian Dable, I don't know if he's ever been calling plays, but obviously that second half against Arizona, that whole narrative started. Mike Kafka, certainly, like, they figured him out. They haven't really been getting as creative as they did last year, and that's kind of disappointing. So we'll see what happens, but I just wanted to give like a little shout out, a little video to Wandale Robinson today, because ultimately I feel as though he's a long-term piece on this offense. I think he could be a star for us. I think we have to protect him. He's been getting really hit a lot, like in the head and the legs and the knees. They got to do a better job giving him space and giving him an opportunity to like dodge and go down on his own, just make sure he protects himself. Instead, they've been getting him killed. And I feel as though it's only a matter of time before he gets hurt, and we're like, oh, here we go again, another injury to the receiving core of the offense. So, we'll see what happens there. But guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below on Wandale and the offense, really how you think they can start to get better, maybe a little bit more creativity, maybe a little bit more to Jalen Hyatt. I know that's a guy that we've all been clamoring about to get more opportunities. But this upcoming weekend, going to be a tough one. This is a good Washington team. They're not great, but they're not that bad. I mean, if our defense steps up, plays the way it did last week against Buffalo, we have a really good chance of winning this game. But I also don't trust our offense at all. I think that you have to, feed the ball to our guys, our youngsters, give the ball to guys that want to get better. Some of these guys, they've been around losing so much. I don't want to ruin Wandale, and I don't want to ruin Jalen Hyatt. I think we got to get them more time, and I think that they're starting to get more time. As we're seeing these snap counts and the snap share kind of unfold over the last couple of weeks, you're seeing these youngsters get more opportunities, and I think it needs to continue trending in that direction. So we'll see what happens, but always optimistic to see if these guys can get more involved. Always happy to hear perspectives below in the YouTube comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.